Alright guys, welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thank you for joining me today. So as you see, the Aztek is up off of the ground. Technically, one wheel remains attached to the ground. The other three are up. And I'm really hoping that later on today, we will be able to start the Aztek for the first time since February. Got a couple of small things I have to finish up on it. And then there's one big thing that actually we got to do a little bit later. My friend is coming over to help me with it. But for the most part, it's just about ready to go. The reason why it's up this far is because I kind of made a mistake. And honestly, at the time, I didn't think it was going to be too bad of an issue, but it's turning out to be a little more than I imagined. So, when putting on the back engine head, I did not really line up the part where the exhaust manifold, right around there. I did not really see that it had been lined up with the rest of the exhaust system. So once I had already bolted the head down, I took a gander, and of course it wasn't lined up. I didn't think that was going to be that big of an issue to correct. But as you can see, we ended up disconnecting the entire exhaust system from the bottom of the car, and we still can't get it on. So there's not as much, I mean, there's more play going back and forth, obviously, with this whole thing hanging down like this. But the problem is we can't get it to go back and forth because of all the bends and stuff. So what we're going to do later this afternoon is we're going to disconnect that section right there from the muffler. We're going to cut those rusted bolts off. Then that way this whole thing is two separate pieces, and we should be able to get this to pull back far enough and onto the exhaust system, or the exhaust manifold, I should say. So that's what we're waiting for later on this afternoon. It'll probably start getting dark by the time he's able to get here, but I did manage to find a light in the basement that I could bring out here. So we'll have light to work on it. In the meantime, I'm gonna finish hooking up these power steering lines, or the one line right there. And gotta get the belt on. Tried getting the belt on, and as I predicted, the lines were in the way. However, and I never noticed this, there's little slots around there somewhere that the lines are supposed to fit into on the engine block. So if I can push those in there far enough, I may actually be able to get the belt on and go from there. But as you can see, everything else has been ready actually for a week now. So everything else is set. Got the coolant bottle, reservoir, or overfill, whatever you call it. We got this back in place and hooked up. It's not full of anything right now. I had it in the basement. I tried to scrub all of the nasty stuff out of it. So managed to get quite a bit of it out. That wasn't really as easy of a task as I was thinking it was going to be. And last but not least, I am going to try to make another attempt to get these transmission lines on. The reason why I didn't really finish the transmission lines was because that right there, this fitting, as you can see, is completely rusted and rounded out, and I couldn't figure out how to get it out. There's really no room to get vice grips on there and being able to turn them. There's no room to turn the vice grips. So I ended up buying a bolt extractor set, and I'm hoping the bolt extractors will get that out. The other fitting has been out right there, so that one's been ready to go. So if I can get this one out, then I will rerun those brand new transmission fluid lines up through here, try to connect them to the radiator and connect them here, and then that way the transmission lines will be done as well. Then at that point, the only main thing we're going to have to focus on once it's up and running are finishing the brake lines to the entire backside of the car, and of course rehooking all of this up, which is going to be a real treat now that I just kind of put everything back together over here. And then she's technically ready to be driven, I think, with the exception that I'm going to get two slightly used tires put on it. The back tires seem to be okay, but this one over here keeps going flat. It's dry rotted really bad. This one doesn't look too bad, and it's holding air. I mean, I might be able to get away with just replacing that one for now, but actually there's cracks in this one too. I don't know, we'll see. The back tires are actually not too bad either. So that's where we stand for today, guys. I'm hoping today is gonna be the day that this thing runs. And as promised, either way, if it's not today, this is the vlog where we're going to make the attempt to have it started. This thing worked wonderfully. Yes, so look at how rusty and rounded out that was. That's awesome. All right, that was, see, they have these little like barbs in them a little bit. It gripped onto that thing. Wow, I'm really glad I bought these. I wish I bought them no sooner. Awesome. All right, so I can probably move forth with these transmission lines and finally get these up and out of the way. Okay guys, it's been a few hours since I last saw you guys, but here we go. So upper and lower transmission lines are in place, as to be expected. Couldn't route them 100% the same way. I mean, they're pretty close. This is actually supposed to snap into here like that. One of them we're supposed to. The other one's hanging here. They're going around, and couldn't really get the lines to go up to this bolt here where that's supposed to go. So I found a clamp, just kind of clamped them together there like they're supposed to be. It's holding them pretty good. And into the transmission with some new fittings. The fitting here, they gave me the wrong one to begin with, so I had to go and find a new fitting for that. This one kind of has me worried because this clip was not holding this line in 100%, and I think there was a lot of play in it, but since I screwed these together with this clamp here, there's no play. None of these are really flexing. So I think that might have solved the issue. So that's it. I don't know what to do about this. I mean, it's just on there. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. It's snugged up around them pretty good. And where's that bolt? I'll just put the bolt in here, you know, just in case. So the bolt is still always gonna be there. But I really hope that line doesn't blow out. I really don't see it being an issue. I hope not. The one up here, oh, and this thing, I can't get this thing to cover that. It's supposed to go over the top, but whatever. And this thing up here, this one actually I had to fight to get it in, so I don't think this is going anywhere. That's snugged out pretty good. Tried pulling on it, it's not going anywhere. So I was just worried about this one here, and hopefully it'll be okay. So I'll get the fluid out of the Aztek. I think I managed to save most of it anyway. But I did buy another quart today. Same stuff I had in there already. So we'll dump that into the transmission. That way when it starts, it'll have fluid, and hopefully we won't see any leaks. I hope. What else? Also got power steering fluid earlier. I have a little bit left of that generic stuff. We'll put this stuff in first and we'll see if it tops it off. Also bought some gas treatment, just $1 stuff for now. Okay, well, let's get fluid into the transmission and see if it comes out of any of the lines at the bottom. Hopefully not. And then I can work on getting the power steering lines finished and getting the belt on. We're getting there. Also, remember when I thought that there might be the chance that the wasps were possibly coming from somewhere else? They might have started another hive before the winter or the colder season was coming. Oh, so much to clean. Got to put our Glovebox handle on. What happened to this thing? Like, it just like snapped off. It's completely broken. Oh, look, I just pulled a piece of plastic off. It must have just gotten weak. Anyway, maybe we'll do that today too, but the new handle, I already put it into the box, so we didn't lose it. Anyway, could probably put this guard back on too. Get this out of here. Well, actually, I'll move this for now. The Aztek's going to be empty of all these parts soon. I'm really excited. Okay, I might take this knob off and put it on my driver's seat. I didn't realize this knob over here existed. Here's our transmission fluid. I tried to collect a lot of it. I think I managed to collect most of it. That's still quite a bit. I don't know how much we're going to need, obviously, and the car is still sitting up on the ramps and stuff, so it's not going to be accurate. But at least it's not going to be empty anyway. This is going to be fun trying to pour this in. Got my funnel in. Oh, that's going to be a mess. Okay, I'm going to have to put the camera down for this. Also, as we can clearly see, the fluid is still red, so this is still pretty fresh fluid going back into this. I don't really see a whole lot of contaminants floating, so it's still good. Of course, it sat in a plastic bag inside the Aztek since all of it ran out. Let's dump it in and hope that none of this comes out the bottom of those transmission lines. How's it look? Oh, look at that. What is that? So we are dripping something. Ironically enough, it's going into the pan. On this side. Alright, what we got? I don't see it dripping now. Where is it? Huh. I don't know. I'm having a hard time seeing the camera screen. I'm like right under it, so I'm trying to see it. I wonder what that could be. Hope it's not the actual seal. It wasn't leaking there when I got it. It was leaking up front. Yeah, it seems to be slowing down. Alright, pulled out the dipstick, and it's like still on the dipstick. It's like full according to the dipstick, so I know when you put the transmission fluid in, the car should be running. Get the pump going, so there could be a chance I overfilled it just from it sitting here, so that might not be an issue. So once the car is running, then maybe yeah, it's not really, it's really slow right now. Maybe it'll circulate, obviously get into all of the valleys and stuff of the transmission, and then of course this will be accurate. So maybe I just put too much in for now. Shouldn't be that big of a deal, but okay, I'm gonna move on to this power steering line, and we'll worry about that and see what happens once the car is actually on and such. This is what I'm dealing with the power steering line. That hose keeps kinking right there. And it's a really tight hose. It's got to wiggle up to at least where the crease is right here. I can't get it. I've tried putting the fluid on it just to, get it to slide. That's a really tight hose. I've had nothing but problems with these new power steering lines. So I'm taking a break from those. As you can see, it's starting to get dark. It's 4:39. Today was the day we turned all the clocks back. So daylight is getting scarce. We're gonna move on to something else. We're gonna put antifreeze in it, or coolant, or whatever you want to call it. By the way, this hose, I have a feeling somebody changed it out before. It seems like it's way too long. It is not supposed to be this long, I don't think. Try tucking it under this mount, tucking it here, under there. That seems a little better, but yeah, it seems like it's a really, really long hose. I thought about cutting it, but I'll just let it go. When I got the car, it was just hanging all over, and I knew that wasn't right. I think they had it like tucked under here or something, but it should be kind of tucked away behind this wiring harness here, I think, and then under the motor mounts supports, and then it goes up to the reservoir from the pressure cap. So let's do our antifreeze. Now I'm gonna dump it from this. I just rinsed all this out, this empty milk jug. Got my antifreeze here. Got my distilled water here. We're going to pour half of this into this, half of this into this, and then I'm just going to dump the rest of this into this. We might end up using all of it, not 100% sure. Again, the car's not running, so but again, we're just going to get it in there, and that way we'll see if there's any maybe odd leaks coming from any of the other components. First thing we're going to do, this particular engine has two bleeder valves on it. One bleeder valve on the thermostat housing, and one bleeder valve on our brand new coolant bypass. So here's the coolant bypass one, here's the bleeder valve on the thermostat housing. We're going to open this one, and we're going to open that one. And we're going to start pouring the coolant slowly into the pressure cap. And then like I said, we're going to pour it in slowly, give it time to settle and start filling up. The car is leaning, so it's probably going to fill up rather quickly on this side. But when we start seeing the coolant run out of here, then we close this off. That's technically, I think, what they say is the highest point of the cooling system, is the thermostat housing. And then I do believe we just keep going once this is closed off. And when it comes out through there, but once it's running, I think we have to still bleed the system of any air. You know, so this part too is also new to me. I've never bled a cooling system before. This is just from what I've seen, but I know for a fact we want to open this and that and wait for the antifreeze to come from here. Then we know we're getting pretty full with the system. I've also been told that these are also very delicate, especially when they age. So it's open. I just opened it. I used a number 7. This one, yeah. So this one was actually easier because it's a brand new piece. Yeah, so you can see how it's open. Might have opened it a little too far, but that's okay. And then again, when we tighten it, we definitely don't want to over tighten it. They're so small, they can snap. Let me go get my brand new coolant funnel. Okay, it all started coming back up this way, so let's give it some time. Sheesh, okay, 1 gallon down. Nothing overflowing there. Nothing coming out of here. Very slow stream. Trying not to lose control of this bottle. I keep seeing dripping over here. It's running down where the transmission line is. I hope it's just because the neck was overfilling. I hope there's not really a leak of any type. So maybe we're full already. Oh no, I really hope this isn't a leak. Now this radiator had no leaks when I bought it. This car. I can't even tell where it's coming. That's a lot. That's a lot of drips to be overfilled. Oh no, it's getting on me. Sheesh. That don't seem right. Where's that coming from? See, I spilled coolant on everything. See, it's dripping from that. All right, so in this disappointing chapter, I closed up the system, kind of gave the radiator hose a slight squeeze, and when I do, the drips on the bottom get faster, so we have a leak. The radiator on the Aztek is leaking. It wasn't leaking when I bought it, but now we know that it's leaking now. Alright guys, so yet again we're not able to start it yet. However, we made some great progress this evening. The little leak turned out to be where that transmission fitting is, where the line goes in. Well, the fitting wasn't tight for some reason. It was really loose, so the antifreeze was leaking around the fitting and coming out. So I took the transmission line off, I tightened it up, and then put more antifreeze in it, and as you can see, the antifreeze is still at level. It's not dripping at the moment. It's not dripping at all. You can see a lot of it ended up coming out. So the good news is, as of right now, the radiator is in pretty good shape. I gotta put some coolant here in the overflow. We also got the exhaust hooked up to the back of the engine, so that is done. We had to cut this piece of the exhaust off, and it's probably a good thing we did, because the this piece here, this was on the muffler, and as you can see, it is the one side, the bolt just, it fell right off. So what we're going to do is we're just going to straight pipe that and put some clamps on it, and that'll be the end of that situation. The entire back side of the exhaust, the muffler, and the tailpipe are all sitting back on their hangers, and like I said, the engine is bolted to the exhaust now, finally. That was the big concern. So my friend's coming back over in a few days to help me finish that up. In the meantime, what else? I think that's it. The transmission, haven't seen any more fluid leaking out of it. He said the same thing. Sounds like we just overfilled the reservoir, or not the reservoir, the transmission, because the car is not running. So that should be fine once this fluid starts circulating. The power steering line, he's thinking we're going to cut that hose down, the line, since it's kinking and it's not going into the thing. So once that's good, we can put power steering fluid in it. Let's see, we got our antifreeze in it. I think other than getting the battery on the charge, that's going to be it. Wednesday, today's Sunday, so Wednesday, he says, is the next time we will be back at it. So I'm going to clean up the rest of the stuff I got lying around, and I'm going to add some more antifreeze to that also. So that's it. Another day. We're close. We are getting close. Alright guys, so it's been a few days since we last did anything with this, and just now I managed to hook up the new exhaust piece. Here's what we did. It might be kind of dark. It's basically, I just bought like a straight pipe. Didn't have to be very big. Yeah. So bought a straight pipe, and then just clamped it down on both sides. The guy at the parts store said one clamp is all you really need. You can see where it's indented there in the middle. That's designed, I guess, so you can actually clamp over top of it, and it pretty much just kind of goes in the middle where the break is between the two original pipes. But I decided to clamp it on both sides, and it actually, trying to get that thing on there, it's really snug to get it back and forth. So even if there weren't clamps on there, I feel like it really wouldn't have gone anywhere, but I can't really say anything about that because, you know, the heat and stuff. So, but I clamped it down, so the exhaust should be good now, which means I can finally take the Aztek off of these two bricks, because both of the jack stands are being used up front. Yeah guys, like I said, I've only been home for a half hour, and yeah, no daylight. So I'm really glad that this project is pretty much all complete. So now I'm actually going to hook the battery up, and I'm going to put my battery charger on it. So I got a little battery charger. It's a little trickle charger, and we're going to hook it up with the battery charge. Maybe tomorrow. Still, I didn't cut the hose for the power steering line, but I might just go without it for the time being. I just really want to get this car started. So I'll move the lines out of the way down there, and then I can finish putting the belt on. And I can re-hook this wire up. I kind of moved this out of the way because I didn't want to snag it when I was trying to do the belt. I mean, it's a very fragile looking piece. Well, it looks fragile, but you know, anyway. So yeah, I get to play the game of getting these side post terminals plugged in. So I might go get my overhead light. I'm going to need the cord anyway for the battery charger. And the battery charger will tell us if this battery is actually still good or not. You know, I'm assuming it's completely dead, but it'll tell us if it's actually a good battery. It better be a decent battery. I mean, I know it's a used battery. It was already kind of older when I bought it, but I think we didn't, you know, the car wasn't able to actually charge it to full capacity, so hopefully the battery charger will help us with that. Alright, both battery terminals are now connected. This terminal harness, you can see, ever since I got the car, it's out of that little loom clip. Definitely gonna want to put that back on before we while we're getting the belt on. So yeah, it's all hooked up. Is there any leftover power? I seriously doubt it. There's a little bit of power left. What? The glove box is lit, the dome lights are on. She got a little bit of life left in her. Oh my gosh, look, the floor lights are coming on. Wow, I thought that thing would have been completely dead. That's 8 months of sitting without any activity. Completely unhooked for 8 months. And she got a little bit of life in her. Dom's still the same. Start cutting on some headlights and stuff. There's not enough power, obviously. No way. It's the first time this car has had life since February. Wow, I'm really surprised that that battery has held that much of a charge. So this is actually a brand new battery charger. I've never used it yet. My dad actually bought it for me for my birthday, which was, well, just a couple of days after I started tearing everything apart. So the battery charger would have came in handy instead of jump starting the car all the time when we were starting it. So we're going to try this out for the first time. And unfortunately, I have to sacrifice the light because the extension cord. So I'll have to use my phone. So here's the glove box handle. This is how it fell out of the thing. And yeah, look, this thing just completely broke off. The entire... I have no idea why. I mean, the glove box was never locked in my possession, so I can't even really say if somebody tried to get in. But if somebody tried to get into the glove box, there was a lot more valuable stuff outside of the glove box. So that's very strange. But nothing ever ended up missing. It just seems like it might have been cracked already, and maybe the heat over the summer just kind of made it give out. But that's what happened to it. Okay. Also, I never really looked in here. I mean, I knew that there were the old radio buttons for the steering wheel, but in the way back, check this out. This is the knob for the lumbar support that I was going to take off of this seat. Can't see it. They actually kept that in here. I can see where it broke, so that seems to be a common thing. What else is in here? There's some fuses, a fuse puller, paper. Probably looks like a receipt of some type for Sam's Club. Some silverware. Extra dash mats. I don't think I put those in there. Never really got a chance to start fully cleaning the car. Gold tinted. I have no idea what that is. Oh well. Anyway, here we go. Yes. Open, close, open, close. Okay. Oops. That thing. So glove box handle replacement was a success. Hooray. Alright, light is gone. Battery charger's hooked up. We just have to hit the button and both terminals are on. And it says charging. Sweet. So, the bad battery light's not on, so that's a good sign. I'm assuming that probably would have came on right away. Wonder if it actually gets brighter if it's sending more power. Wow. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I still cannot believe that. I still cannot believe that this had power. Oh, did you hear that? Some cats out there fighting. Alright, so I'm going to tuck some of this under the hood. We're going to let this sit overnight. When the battery is done charging, it'll keep it maintained so it doesn't overcharge it. It's like one of those smart battery chargers. And I'm going to call it a night. Alright guys, so it is November 7th. You can't see me, I just got home from work and you can tell it's completely dark out now. It got darker quicker now than it did yesterday. But we're gonna start the Aztek today. Or we're gonna try to start it. We're gonna do this right now. So the only thing I have to do, you know, I thought about it. I'm not gonna fight with this power steering line. Not right now. But I think I'm just gonna push the lines up into where they need to be. There shouldn't be anything in the rack. There's nothing in the pump. I don't really think anything's gonna come flying out of this out of this line. I'm gonna get the belts on. I'm gonna have to crawl under real quick and just connect the bottom O2 sensor on the exhaust, and then that way we got all that stuff done. And here's our battery. It charged all night and the green light is saying that it is maintained, fully charged and maintained. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to stop the charger, unplug the charger, and then I'm going to disconnect the battery terminals. On top of that, I bought a gas can, and I hate these new gas cans, these new style. I like the old style where they have like the vent on the back and stuff. This is just nonsense, in my opinion, because it leaked. Put the cap on and it leaked in the trunk. So I filled it 2 gallons. So we're going to put 2 gallons of good gas in here. And what else? The car has less than 1/4 of a tank of gas that's probably been sitting in here for probably almost 2 years, because they haven't driven it for a year and it's been parked here for about a year. So yeah, so the gas, at least it's low, but we're going to put some fresh gas, and I have a little bit of gasoline treatment I'll throw in there also just to kind of help it. Oh, and I got to hook the dog bone mounts up real quick also. So yeah, I'll get these things taken care of real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and give it a try. I still find it so weird that there's lights on in the Aztek again. Alright, how do you use this stupid thing? So, this unlocks it, yes. You push. Oh, you push in. Then you unlock. I have no idea how this works. Anyway, hopefully the filler isn't rotting or anything. We're going to find out. Yeah, so as I expected, the gas can leaked all over the side and the cap. It's just what I need. It leaked on the ground, leaked all over my hand, probably got on my shoes. I don't hear anything leaking on the bottom of the car though. Oh. Okay, now before we actually start it, I'm going to try to crank the engine over just a few times, not a few times, but for a few seconds without firing, so that way some of the oil can get back to the top end a little quicker. I know we oiled the lifters and the rockers and stuff when we were putting it back together, but now it probably doesn't matter because it's been sitting for like another almost 2 weeks now, I think. So I'm gonna take out the fuel pump relays and fuses. I think when I looked at this there were 2, so I don't know if taking one out will just kill it completely or if I have to take them both out. Yeah, so there's a micro relay, which is 51, and then there's a mini fuse, and that's under here, of course. And this will be fun because this is all broken. It won't stay against the body anymore. There we go. Push him in, I forgot. Alright. So, according to this, number 1, my hand smells like gasoline so bad. Right there. Which way am I looking at this? Oh, okay. Let's try not to lose these. Ooh, that's got corrosion on it. Probably from when it was uncovered for so long. I just realized there's a diagram on the inside of that too. Oops. Number 51, a micro relay, so it's an actual block item. That is also sitting right there. So that's going to be, let's see if that was facing this way. It's going to be this one, this black thing right here. Ooh. Okay, that should be it. No fuel pump. Okay, so before we actually crank this over, I just want to say that I am not 100% confident that this is going to work the way it should. And I'm not saying that because I think I did a bad job. I don't, honestly, I got it back together. I tore it apart and I managed to get it back together. That alone is a pretty wild accomplishment. Everybody who has been watching these videos, people that I know personally and stuff, who have been following pictures and stuff on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and they've seen all the work that I've done, can't believe that I've challenged myself to actually do this. And there are times where I can't believe I did it either. But I want to say the reason why I don't feel as confident as I should is because of the fact that I haven't done this before. And I just want to say, you know, I've tried my very best to get everything put back in its correct place. I've tried everything, making sure everything was snugged down, making sure everything is as correct as possible. And that's really hard to do when there were like a million hiccups along the way. So at least I know the very top half of the engine, the intake, the heads, all this, the valves, the rockers, the springs, and all that stuff. Those are all clean. We cleaned all that stuff up. We cleaned up the heads. We cleaned everything that we can on the top half. The bottom half, as we seen in a vlog not that long ago, before we put our new clean oil in recently, there's still gunk in the engine on the bottom half. Stuff still leaks out, like sludge and stuff. There's nothing I can do about that. I wanted to drop the pan and clean the pan and change the gasket and just clean everything that I could on the bottom half, but there's a lot of work that goes into that, like pretty much dropping the cradle. I think you basically have to dismount the engine from the body to take that off, and I honestly don't want to deal with that. So that's why there's going to be oil changes quite frequently, even if this car is not being driven. I mean, it's definitely not ready to be driven now, but hopefully in like a month or so I can finish everything up and get it roadworthy for the winter time anyway. But I'm maybe a month or 2 months at that. We're just going to keep changing the oil, changing the filter, adding some seafoam. We're going to try to get as much of that garbage out of the bottom half of the engine as we can, and try to make it it's never going to be perfect, and even at that, I can't guarantee that this engine is even going to last. I mean, based on everything that we've seen in this engine, I'm really, really surprised at how well it ran to begin with. So I can only hope, now that we've cleaned everything out, we've been adding fresh oil. We did 2 oil changes technically since I brought the car home, and the first oil change really didn't have enough time on it, but it cleaned out a little bit, so I'm hoping we can flush all that stuff out. So this is it, guys. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I know it's dark. I didn't want it to be dark, but let's try it. I'm really, really nervous. Oh God. Okay, so this is a 2-camera event. So I'm going to film from the inside, the camera's going to film from the outside. Just to rethink a couple of things. Pulled out the fuel pump relay so we can get some cranks before we actually fire the engine. We got our clean oil in there. We got clean antifreeze in the radiator. There's no power steering in the reservoir, so if we hear any noise, it's either going to be from the power steering pump or it's going to be the lines. The lines are still really close to the pulley, but I got them out of the way enough, so there's that. What else? All the wiring and stuff is hooked up and ready to go. We crawled under the car, put the O2 sensor back in, and hopefully the battery will hold up for some of these charges. So it's at full charge. If not, then we will have to jump it. Here we go. It smells like gas over here. I hope that's just because of the gas can. Wheels locked. Oh, are you kidding me?
What?
It's not going to start on its own, the battery. You've got to be kidding me. Oh no. Hey, I brought it up to a half a tank of gas. That's cool. The lights keep going on and off. I don't know. Alright, we're going to crank it. No fire. Hopefully it rotates. That's a good sign. Car's not seized. Alright, so how's it look? It's hard to tell. We really got any good oil up there. Alright, let's plug in the relays, which I probably shouldn't do like this because the battery's on. There's the air compressor for the suspension. One more fuse. Don't shock me. Alright. Fuel pump is engaged. Turn the pump over a few times. One more time. I hear the injectors resetting, so that's good. Okay. Here it goes. Not the way I was expecting. Boy, I hope the fuel pump didn't seize up from sitting so long. Oh, she chugged a little bit. Well, she's trying. Ooh. Come on. I got all this stuff down here. I don't even know if I can reach the gas pedal. probably, all the bad gas is probably still making its way to the injectors. Come on. I'm really surprised this battery is still going.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the starter. My bad. No way. Yes! Yes! Yes, it lived! No way! What? I hit the starter after when it was still rotating. No way! No way! Well, what's that? It's either steam or smoke. Alright, hold on. What is that?
Oh.
I hear it. What is it?
Yeah, where did it go?
Oh, that looks like transmission fluid. Alright, so one of my lines is still leaking. This rag fell in there.
Is that where there was smoke?
I don't know, the smoke was coming from over here. What? Okay, why is that leaking? It's leaking from one of the fittings. It's leaking from the top fitting. Alright, so that top fitting just isn't sitting in there right. Alright. Yeah, she's having a hard time with this. Yeah, all that new fluid's just gonna leak out. Good thing I have the base in there. All right. Oh, it's the exhaust, the new exhaust manifold, I think. There must be something burning on it. That's probably the power steering line's getting chewed up. And my check engine light is flashing, so we are missing. We have a misfire. I think that's the belt hitting the power steering line.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like the smoke, but I don't really know what else that's from. Oh! Well, that could be a good sign or something too. One of my new lines are leaking in the back. Yeah, one of the ones I ordered from the eBay. So that could explain the steam. It's antifreeze leaking onto the exhaust. That's wonderful. That was honestly one of the things I was concerned about. I thought I got it in good enough, but apparently I didn't. And I still think the high pitch noise is the belt rubbing on my power steering lines, because they seem to be in the way a little bit. Or it could be because there's transmission fluid spraying on everything, so it's probably making the belt slip. Could be a number of things. But hey, it ran. Alright, well, so like I said, it lives. However, that there, I hope the one that's on the bypass tube isn't leaking too. That one's a little harder to see. I can see the end of it right there, but I can't see where it's connecting. Let's see, down there, I mean, it's hard to tell. Oh, everything smells hot. The noise, like I said, most likely is the belt getting hit with the power steering line. You can see how close it is to the pulley down in there. Come on, focus. Right there. Yeah, that's most likely what that is. It just barely touches it. So that's probably what that is. And this this transmission mess now. Wow. That's disappointing. It's really disappointing. Anyway, the battery I don't think is putting out enough full charge, because now it won't let me take the key out of the ignition. My old Aztek, when the battery was weak in it wouldn't let me do this either. So yeah, you can still see all the steam and stuff. See, it like goes away, it comes back, goes away. That's what that is. All right. Hopefully the service engine light will stop flashing. You know, once the you know, car warms up and everything. I don't know what to do about my key. I mean, I know nobody's not gonna take the car, but when that's on, the accessory is, you know. Wow. All right, guys. I guess I'm gonna clean up and call it a night. Can't reuse that fluid now. No. All right. So, yeah. I guess overall it seems as though the Aztek teardown and rebuild was a success if it was running, and it was running. However, as we've seen, there's other issues now that I have to look into and try to resolve. So, I mean, overall, I am very happy that it ran. I think it'll run better in time once I'm able to get the other issues resolved, and then actually burn through a lot of the bad gas, and I'll throw that gas treatment in the tank also. So yeah, I think it will definitely run better in time. even though it didn't run perfect, it definitely ran a lot better than I was expecting for it to run. Yeah, I can't believe it actually ran. Now, as far as the transmission, the fitting, it looks like it was just coming, like the line isn't sitting in the fitting right. So maybe that fitting is just bad because I had a leak coming from around that fitting when we were putting coolant in it, and now the line doesn't want to seem to fit. So maybe I'll just buy a new fitting and try to put that in there, or the line itself may not be sitting in there right. So these lines, man, I really don't want to do lines ever again. They just seem really weird. But so what I'll probably do is I'll take that line off, and I'll try to get it in there better. I mean, it clipped in, so I'm not really understanding why it's not sealing right. So hopefully I can get to the bottom of that. That shouldn't be too bad. The power steering lines, my friend, I'm going to have him come over and help me try to bend those out somehow. Because those lines have been an issue from day one, if you've been following. Those lines for some reason just are not sitting correctly. Yeah, they're no good to me. I hate them. So we somehow have to get them pushed back further away from the pulley, and we'll have to look into a way to do that. The major thing that I'm extremely concerned about is the one of those bypass hoses going up behind the engine. I don't know why there's coolant coming from them, or from the one at least. It was hard to tell. I didn't see anything else leaking from like the other line or anything, but I think that hose there. That's the bypass hose that goes into the thermostat housing, if I'm not mistaken. The coolant bypass tube that goes from the water pump and over, that hose is a little lower, from my understanding. But I think the thermostat bypass tube that goes to the heater core, it goes up and around, and it goes into the firewall. So I got to find out why it's leaking from where the actual metal pipe is reaching the actual hose. So that's going to require a little more work. I'm going to have to start, by taking some stuff off again in that area, and I'm not looking forward to that. But yeah, so I guess I'll just have to keep working away at it. But guys, it ran as promised. I told you this was going to be the vlog where we try to get it to run, and we did. So I'm just happy that it's a running car, tech kind of, ish. It's running-ish, and we'll work to get it 100% resolved. It's going to take longer because now I have no daylight when I get home from work, so I'm looking at weekends and stuff. This is the first weekend they're calling for snow. So this, Saturday, I'll look into what I can on Saturday, and we'll go from there. But guys, we did it. She's alive. Except right now, the key wouldn't come out of the ignition, and the battery is still on, so I'm just going to let it die, and we'll just have to resort back to the jump start method, or I'll throw it back on the charger, but it does seem we're going to need a battery. My old Aztek did that to me. The battery wasn't holding enough voltage to send power to the ignition, so yeah, we'll just have to get a new battery. But hey, it runs, so I guess we can do that. That's the least of my concern right now, but we'll get it done. So guys, give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Also check out teespring.com/store/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. You can also check out some of that merchandise down below this video. There's a little scroll bar. Scroll back and forth, check out some stuff, buy some stuff. And that's really all that I have for you guys today. These last few vlogs have been really long. And I want to really thank you guys for following this journey on rebuilding the Aztek. Apparently there's going to be more to come with the Aztek. There's still a lot to do with it. But at least for the most part, the whole rebuilding chapter is finally done. It's done and over with. So, yes. I will see you guys next time. Thank you again so much, and take care.